Howdy everyone, it's Sam. I hope you're doing really well. If you're new around these parts, I hope I can get you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel by the end of the video. And if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you so much for the continuous support. The North Queensland Cowboys have made some moves over the past 48 hours for positive and for negative. This episode is all about, well, not all about the juniors, and we've got a couple of key signings coming our way. Maybe next year, maybe in 2023. All of that is going to be discussed in the coming weeks. I'm going to decide on what this show or what this episodic show is going to be called. But this is everything North Queensland Cowboys news related items that has dropped, and this is just all a bit of a catch up as well. So what I'd like to start off with is some, not the biggest news, but it's maybe the freshest piece of news that's dropped as far as Cowboys colours goes. There are two gentlemen that have been snapped up, and this is reported on by the Courier Mail. They've been snapped up by the Brisbane Broncos. They are two juniors from Townsville that are now moving down to Brisbane. One of the gentlemen is the son of Tom Leroy Lars, and Tom Leroy Lars made his debut with the Brisbane Broncos, mostly known for the Canberra Raiders, and then he played a game or two for the Melbourne Storm. And Tom Leroy Lars, if you all recall, when he was on, he played for State of Origin. I believe he played for the Kangaroos as well. And when he was on, he was a frightening prospect. He would have been terrifying to try and tackle. And now his son is in the juniors. He is playing footy, and he was in North Queensland for a long time. I didn't know that bloody Tom Leroy Lars had moved up to Townsville, but that was the case. And now his son, Caden Lars, who is more likened to be a more of a lock player, he's been snapped up by the Brisbane Broncos, by the bloody enemy, you bloody buggers. And there's unfortunately no real good footage that I can show you of Mr. Caden Lars. But the second player that I'd like to talk about in this scenario, in this batch, is a gentleman named Jamal Shibasaki. Now, if Shibasaki, that last name rings a bell to anyone, yes, he is the younger brother of Shibasaki from Newcastle Knights. I can't pronounce his bloody first name. Jivat Shibasaki. I'm not even going to bother anymore. But I do have highlights of young Shibasaki that I'd like to react to with you guys. Jamal Shibasaki, pressing play now. I can't see you guys now. I now can. Let's see if I can't get that a little bit bigger for us. This gentleman here, boys, he's not even 18 years of age yet, but the way that he's running that ball back with gusto, his defense is highlighted there. His just tenacity to stay on like a bloody pit bull. He's the big fella that just bloody crunched the young man in the blue jersey. And this is him hitting the ball up now. This is Jamal Shibasaki, who's been snapped up from the Broncos, a young man, a tearaway young bloody man to it that. And this is what the Cowboys have lost, unfortunately. This young man is bloody impressive, and I'm gonna let this entire video play out. While it doesn't sting like some of the other losses that the Cowboys have had experienced over the past 10 years, this guy, man, he is only a young bloke, and he's only going to get bloody bigger, and he's absolutely enormous. That's awesome stuff. Gee whiz, that's a bloody good try. Yeah, so that's Jamal Shibasaki that we've lost to the bloody enemy in the Brisbane Broncos. And look, that news dropped approximately, I think it was this morning or really late yesterday. But in any event, that's another couple of young, good prospects that we've lost. And there's another gentleman here that I'd like to show you. And if you so with the young prospects that we do have, that we're going to hopefully latch on to for the future, this gentleman here is a halfback, and his name is Tom Duffy. And the reason why I'm highlighting this gentleman here is, well, for a few reasons. This guy has been touted as an Australian schoolboy. He was on the merit list that was announced back in September. And just looking up some of his highlights, which I'll play in just a moment, I really like, he's got some silky touches, man. Some really fast reactionary touches. And what I'll do, I'll just press play here. So what we're looking at is halfback Tom Duffy. And he's going to be the gentleman that finds himself a good posse and scores a try. And he seems to have a really good combination with this 5'8". And this here is his defense highlight. He puts in the kick and he chases up his own kick. And that's a great cutout pass. That was Tom Duffy, sorry, I nearly said Duffy, that sent out that cutout pass. And here he is again, immediately. It's great awareness by his outside men to be ready for that pass. But boy, howdy, he found the line, didn't he? He put it on a fair dinkum string for his teammates. And that's him there running away from about 30, 40 meters out. Some good pace to beat a center, I believe, on the opposition team. And I just really wanted to highlight him because I think this highlights package, which you can find on QRL, is really impressive of the young man. And with Chad Townsend signing a 3-year contract and this man only being approximately 18 years of age, if he can learn, if he can, with Jonathan Thurston being there and Chad Townsend, if Duffy can find himself in the first grade training squad, which he won't be for 2022, Tom Duffy will be part of the Cowboys Young Gun training squad. But if he can somehow find his way into it in 2022 or 23 and learn under Chad Townsend and even potentially Jonathan Thurston, there could be a halves partner for Tom Dearden in the not too distant future. So I think that's really exciting, that there is someone, that there is a gem hidden within the Cowboys junior system who is a part of the Australian schoolboy team. And if he can stick with us, or if we can stick with him, he could be a really good prospect for us. I just want to go into the chat just for a moment. Hey, Daniel Sexton, g'day. I'm very well, thank you. How are you, good sir? Metallic Panther, hello, good sir. How are you, mate? You keep doing your bloody content. You're bloody good, mate. And cool stuff. Hello, mate. Thank you very much for the compliment. I really do appreciate it. It really does mean a lot to me. So if you just excuse me for a moment, I'm going to just share my screen. I'm going to do this probably one more time. So what I'd like to highlight here is a gentleman named Raka Riki. Now, I don't know if that's the proper enunciation of the young man's name, but he is a Papua New Guinean player. He's of Papua New Guinean heritage, and he was selected as a part of the Australian schoolboys merit team back in September. And I'd like to show you some highlights of the young man, if I may, please. And everyone in the know, that's him with the number 1 on his back, supporting on the inside there, scoring a nice try. For everyone in the know on him, and from what I'm starting to learn about him, Mr. Wavik, a lot of Papua New Guinean people are really excited by the prospects of this young man. If he has the same tenacity, the same no F's given about his own body and well-being like the other Papua New Guinean players that have come before him has, he is going to be destructive. He will be really cool to watch. There is a highlight towards the end of the video here where he struggles with 3 players on his back, and he somehow gets a bloody offload out to his winger or center partner. And I was just really impressed by that, just by that little play by Mr. Wavik as well. There were photos that came out today where he was standing right beside Mr. Jonathan Thurston, getting taught by him, going this, that, and the rest of it. Don't know exactly what was said. And that's the end of the video there. So Mr. Wadvik, unfortunately, though, finds himself in an awkward situation where his best position will probably be fullback. However, Mr. Hamiso Tabuai Fido, as far as I'm concerned, has that under lock and key. That is concrete. That is his position for the next 10 years. So Mr. Wadvik, if he can, I don't know if he can just bide his time, or if opportunity strikes, or if the worst case scenario happens where Mr. Hammer leaves in the next couple of years, Mr. Wadvik seems like he could just step on up. And the next gentleman I'd like to highlight, and if you please excuse me, I've got my mobile phone here, a gentleman named Luke Jack. So what I'll do here, I'll show you the photo of Mr. Luke Jack. So that's him there. And he was the captain of his side in the Malmaninka Cup Grand Final. He was undefeated until the Grand Final. I believe that's what the stat was, but he was the captain of his team. And his coach has said that this guy is a future lock forward superstar. And he is older than the likes of Mr. Lars, Caden Lars. And by reports, Luke Jack, he's just a mongrel. He's just an absolute bloody pit bull. And unfortunately, I don't have any highlights of him that I can show you guys. But those are three gentlemen that were named to be a part of the Australian Schoolboys merit team that was announced back in September. And that's obviously really massive news and a really good spotlight on the future. And those are the three players that are under the Young Guns Cowboys contracts for the next year or two. Even though Mr. Wadvik is training in the first grade, Mr. Luke Jack and Mr. Tom Duffy will be training with the Young Guns. And if I can just quickly backtrack and talk about Duffy, and this is whilst it is schoolboy rugby league up there in Townsville, I want to say Tom Duffy, listen to these stats, guys. Listen to these stats. So in the 6 games, in the 6 games that Mr. Duffy played for his club, he scored 26 points on 2 different occasions. And in 6 games, he scored a combined total of 84 points in 6 games. I think that's awesome. There were hat tricks involved and goal kicking, I believe, as well. But to score 26 points on 2 separate occasions, you're obviously made of pretty bloody good stuff. So what I've spoken about so far, if you're just tuning in, this is just all Cowboys signing news-related topics that I'm catching up on. That's happened since approximately September to now. And who I've spoken about so far is Mr. Caden Lars, the son of Tom Leroy Lars, and Mr. Jamal Shibasaki, both middle forwards. They've been snapped up by the bloody Brisbane Broncos. So if they get well developed down there in Brisbane, they might come back to haunt us. But it doesn't sting because obviously they're only about 15, 16, 17 years of age sort of thing. And the 3 gentlemen there that I just spoke about, Tom Duffy, Raka Riki, Wadvik, and Luke Jack, they were 3 gentlemen who are under contract with North Queensland and were selected to be a part of the Australian schoolboy team back in September. And if you please just excuse me, I'm going to come back into the live chat and say g'day. G'day Warriors NRL fanatics, how you going, mate? I'm very well, thank you. Hey CJ, hope you're going well, mate. Thank you for coming in and tuning in. Hey Rugby League Roundup, always here, mate. Thank you very much, dude, for your continued support as always. And so let's get into the second biggest piece of news, and I'm bloody happy about this. I was really worried about it leading in, but I'm glad it's now done and dusted. Mr. Ruben Cotter has re-signed with the North Queensland Cowboys as of yesterday morning. I'm just going to share my screen while I talk here. He has been re-signed by the North Queensland Cowboys until the end of 2025. This is a really bloody good signing because he's a really bloody tough player that has not. He's got all the potential in the world, and I can see his tenacity, but he hasn't had that standout breakout season. But the guy's only bloody 22 years of age, and he's signed on to play until 20, 25, 26 years old. His best years are ahead of him, and hopefully they are with the North Queensland Cowboys. He is working both positions in the off-season, from what I understand. He's working at hooker and he's working at lock for the next couple of months, and then Todd Payten will obviously decide where the jigsaw puzzle that is Ruben Cotter fits. I can't speak highly and more highly enough about this bloke. His defense is outstanding. He's an absolute pit bull. His attack, though, and that's where I need to see, that's where we all need to see what he can do properly. Yes, he can scoot out a dummy half. He's a hooker. But I haven't seen enough from him in attack to really say what his go-to strengths are as far as his offense goes. And there are theories coming from me as well that he will actually wear the number 13, which pushes Jason Taumalolo into the number 8 or number 10 position. I think that's great because the lock position, it seems to me, is evolving into more of a speedy forward position. And Ruben Cotter's got some explosive speed. And if he can get off the back of Jason Taumalolo, or vice versa, Jason Taumalolo can make a run off the back of Ruben Cotter, who can make some meters out of dummy half, who it just keeps those legs bloody pumping. It's going to hold some gold for us, some massive amounts of treasure for us over the next couple of years. Ruben Cotter, I'm so glad for him. I'm so happy that he has re-signed with the North Queensland Cowboys, because he has unfortunately had some injury-riddled a couple of years to begin his first grade career. So let's get into the biggest piece of news to come out of North Queensland in, I don't know, a good strong few months anyway. Mr. Luciano Leilua from the West Tigers. I felt like I got punched in the face yesterday when I found this out. And I must give full credit to Mr. Pruenzo Vids. If you're watching, good sir, thank you very much, because he was the gentleman that dropped the news on me. And again, I felt like Pruenzo just punched me in the face with this piece of news, because it came out of friggin' nowhere. So if you don't know, Luciano Leilua has signed with North Queensland to begin in 2023. Now, there are rumblings, well, not rumblings, he has requested to leave the West Tigers a little bit earlier, beginning in 2022. Fingers crossed that happens. It's a 3-year deal that starts from 2023, and it's a $2.1 million deal for 3 years. Now, Cowboys have come out and said, we can accommodate him, and we can accommodate you, West Tigers Club. If he comes up earlier, we'll give you another $700,000. We've got the cap space to do that for you. So West Tigers, what do you want to do? And just before I came on air, I was just reading up some updates. And by the sounds of things, West Tigers have raised the old cocky eyebrow and said, well, you got a couple of good-looking back rowers there up there in North Queensland. Hylam Lukey and Jeremiah Nanai. What do you reckon we do a swap? And my heart has fallen into my foot, and it has not bloody moved since. I would be devastated if Hylam Lukey or Jeremiah Nanai were to leave the North Queensland Cowboys, especially that we've just lost a couple of good young prospects in the back row to the Brisbane Broncos, and that we've also got the cap, the money to accommodate the West Tigers for their massive loss, because in 2023 it was sort of looking like Isaiah Papali'i, Luciano Leilua, and Tyrone Peachey as the second row lock three-way combination there at the West Tigers, and now that's not going to happen. So with Luciano Leilua coming up, I like it. There have been some people say things. I believe it's Laurie Daly who said, "Look, what was it that he said?" Laurie Daly said something along the lines of, "He's a good player. He's done some great things and has been the best player at the West Tigers for the past year or 18 months. but does he do the 1%ers, and has he really been as good as what he can be? And whilst I do think he has been arguably the best player at the West Tigers over the past 2 years, 18 months, I definitely think he is about to explode. I know he's been in the game now for about 3 or 4 years now, Luciano Leilua, but his best years are about to come to fruition. And with all due respect, especially to my mate All Out Champa, um, being in a club as wildly inconsistent and as frustrating as the West Tigers, I don't think anyone could full on play to their best abilities at the West Tigers. And with a brand new start under Todd Payton up there in Queensland, where he can just be chilling by the beach, I think Luciano Leilua will put in those 1%ers. I think his game will go to another level. I mean, yes, this is all predicting way too early sort of thing, but this is an exciting signing for the North Queensland Cowboys. And I do have a question mark on his defense, not because I've seen things. It's just I've seen more of him in attack than defense. And his attack, he's a good try scoring forward. I remember this one try he set up back in round 5 when the Cowboys went down to Leichhardt, and he had his winger mate on the outside of him, and he threw a no-look pass to him. But the way he used his hands when carrying the ball to full Valentine Holmes, I think it was, off the top of my head, was bloody good, mate. It was. You heard the crowd when I was sitting in the crowd when I went to that game. You heard the crowd just roar, man. It was a really good piece of play by Luciano Leilua. And yes, I do think he has been West Tigers' best player of the past year or 18 months thereabout. So with the combination, what would the combination look like? It'd be Ruben Cotter, Luciano Leilua, and if he doesn't leave, Hyland Lukey would probably be that other second rower as well. So, but the chess pieces, the dominoes, they're about to start moving even more so up at North Queensland. It's been really busy, almost to the point where it's hard to sort of keep up with North Queensland over the past couple of weeks. So ultimately, I do like the signing of Luciano Leilua. I do not like, and I fear massively about the rumblings that either Jeremiah Nanai or Hylam Lukey, or even both, could be leaving North Queensland to accommodate the move-in on or of Luciano Leilua. And as far as the price tag goes, so it's $700K a season. As I indicated, $2.1 million for 3 years. If he comes up in January, in a couple of months' time, it would then be a 4-year deal that would then be bumped up to $2.8 million. As Mr. Nick from Australia said in his talk about Mr. Leilua last night, Cowboys had to pay overs for him because of how bad we have been, unfortunately, for the past few years. So yeah, I'm cool with the price tag. Just I think if it was any more, I'd be raising some bloody eyebrows and raising the alarms as well. So those are the most recent signings that I wanted to talk about here tonight. Thank you very much to everyone that's come in. I'll just quickly go back into the chat and say g'day to Warriors in Norfolk. Thank you very much, Warrior. That does mean a lot. And Mr. Rugby League Rounder, it's an awesome signing. He is extremely creative ball playing second rower, strong runner, and not a bad defender. One of the most underrated second. I'd say he's underrated for sure. I'd definitely say that. And you'd wait. So Luciano, you'd say Leilua would wait until 2023. The thing is though, it's an awkward situation for Luciano Leilua, and we all sort of know this already. But with the fire that Joey Leilua started spouting towards Madge Maguire and the West Tigers franchise, it's going to become untenable. And this is just what I'm remembering now. Before I came on air, Tim Sheens has indicated that he's going to actually try to keep Luciano Leilua. Well, I think it's just become too untenable, unfortunately, between he and Madge Maguire and the rest of the West Tigers. And just quietly, just a quick off-topic point I want to say. Boy, howdy, Tim Sheens, mate. Tim Sheens has come into a bloody hellstorm, hasn't he? So yeah, but anyway, that's So I just wanted to talk about the juniors, the three gentlemen for that are under contract with the Cowboys who made the Australian schoolboy merit team, and our two first grade signings, Ruben Cotter signing till the end of 2025. Yes, and then Luciano Leilua just coming out of freaking nowhere. And signing with the Cowboys, whether it's from 2022 or 2023, all will be revealed in the next couple of weeks. And I mean, what a freaking month or two it has been since the rugby league finished. This is one of the craziest, if not the most wildest off season I can remember. It's been bloody outstanding. It's been tremendous. That's it from me. I will be back next week. So no more videos from me unless if Armageddon comes. There'll be no more videos from me for this week, and I'll be back next week. Thank you everyone for the continuous support as always. Come on, you Cowboys. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.